Yo, what's up, everybody? Antonio here, dropping another video, and I really wanted to drop quite a few videos because there are a lot of things that have been worth talking about, and I still plan on dropping them. Expect a wave of videos coming out here in the next few days about a multitude of topics, but this one I needed to get out, and this is probably going to be the best opportunity, at least today, that I'm going to have to get this out. But of course, yesterday there was the WWE Super Showdown in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which a lot of people weren't too happy about. And I mean, if we're being perfectly honest, are we surprised? I mean, speaking of honesty, I'll just preface everything I'm about to say by pointing out the fact that I didn't watch it. And in fact, I don't watch any of the Saudi Arabia shows, and I absolutely refuse to. And I'm not even going to go into the reasoning behind that. What I will say, however, is that the big note of the night was Bill Goldberg defeating the Fiend Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship. And I gotta say, I find it really funny because a lot of people have had a multitude of reactions, none of them good, of course, and I don't blame them for that. But, you know, it was, I don't mean to come across as either being smug and or even cynical, but at the same time, I gotta ask, what did we expect? I mean, from the point that they had announced that Goldberg was going to be making an appearance on SmackDown Live, you know, my initial thought at that point was like, cool, good to have you back, Bill. Awesome. You know, it didn't really occur to me that he was going to end up challenging The Fiend. And when I was made aware of that being the case, I was like, oh, wow, he's going to win the Universal title. And not only that, he's probably going to wind up going on to WrestleMania to defend said title against Roman Reigns in a passing of the torch match, spear versus spear, and whatever you want to say about that. But, you know, my biggest thing to that is that why are we even acting like we're surprised? I get the disappointment and everything. I mean, I can't say that I'm not either, but at the same time, I've made myself numb to all of this. This is WWE that we're talking about here. They're doing WWE things. And it's really odd given the fact that at least on Monday Night Raw, it seemed like they were going in a bit of a different direction, especially under the leadership of Paul Heyman, and with Vince McMahon little by little loosening up his grip on the reins. I didn't really mean to go there with that, but that you get what I mean. The point that I'm trying to make here is that it just seemed like things were taking a turn for what would be the correct direction. I mean, we've seen guys like Angel Garza come up from NXT after having dropped the cruiserweight title to Jordan Devlin in that fatal four-way match at the TakeOver pay-per-view back in January, and that was doing pretty good. You got Drew McIntyre winning the Royal Rumble, which everybody and their mama wanted that to at least show that there was some hope that we were going to see something different as we move along here. And we're still getting that. I mean, he's still going to go up against Brock and most likely will beat Brock for the title at WrestleMania. So there's that. Shayna Baszler is going to challenge and probably beat Becky Lynch for the women's championship. Oh, and there's a matter of Charlotte having won the women's Royal Rumble, and now she's challenging Rhea Ripley for the NXT women's championship. But, I mean, hey, it's something different. I mean, it's good stuff. In fact, I love the match that Charlotte and Bianca Belair had the other night on NXT. I mean, that was one of the better matches I've seen in quite some time. I mean, Pac and Kenny Omega in the Iron Man match from Dynamite the other night notwithstanding, I mean, I gotta put both of those pretty much on the same plateau where I'm concerned. I enjoyed both of them equally and very enthusiastically, I might add. But that's just it, though. Even with all of that being the case, we shouldn't be so surprised I get the disappointment once again, but at the same time, let's be honest here. We're talking about WWE here. They do WWE things. Let's look at the components that go into it. Bill Goldberg, legend, nostalgia act, if you will. And then you got the Prince of Saudi Arabia, who just gets a kick out of seeing nostalgia acts. I mean, on top of wanting to see DX, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, Stone Cold, etc., etc., this guy wanted to see the Macho Man, Yokozuna, the Ultimate Warrior. Need I go on? The only problem with that is that none of those guys are with us anymore. So, I mean, if that didn't tell you how a lot of this was going to go, I don't know what would have. I mean, let me just count the ways on this one. There was the gauntlet match, which I can't even understand why that was even a thing. I mean, they were competing in a gauntlet match for a trophy, which these trophies have meant next to nothing when we really get to breaking it down. Well, of course, there was Shane McMahon winning the best in the world tournament that he really wasn't even in initially, but I digress. It's just pretty wild, but getting right back on track, he winds up defeating Bobby Lashley and Andrade in rather flukish ways. And then, of course, you have Rowan getting disqualified by hitting Truth with steel steps. And then, of course, enter AJ Styles to actually just dispose of R-Truth in a way that, I mean, why even bother have him doing what he did in that match? And after that, he was supposed to go up against Rey Mysterio, only there was no Rey Mysterio because Gallows and Anderson wound up beating him up at the gorilla position, so he wasn't able to come out for the match. And of course, AJ's all ring the bell, it's over, raise my hand, give me the trophy. And of course, there was none of that because there was one more person. And the next thing you know, out comes The Undertaker. Undertaker doesn't even bother to take off his hat nor jacket. Just finishes him off quickly, gets the win, and walks out of the building without the trophy, which clearly he didn't deem worthy of taking home with him, which I'm going to move on from that. I mean, as if that wasn't enough, Brock Lesnar disposes of Ricochet handily and quickly, I might add. And that brings us to the main event, if you want to call it that, where you've got Goldberg beating The Fiend and winning the Universal Championship. But, I mean, why are we even surprised about all of this? I don't know. I guess maybe I'm being a little cynical or perhaps even a bit smug when it all boils down to it. And I apologize if I do. But at the same time, it's just hard for me to understand, what the big deal is, because it's obvious what they're trying to do. Now, in all fairness, the focus should be on building new stars, because that's what won WWE the Monday Night Wars. They built new stars from, at the time, the Triple H's, The Rock, Stone Cold, of course, Edge. I mean, the list goes on, and yet they've deviated so much from that over time. Hell, even John Cena wound up making something of himself, and we'll be getting him and The Fiend at WrestleMania on top of Roman and Goldberg in a spear versus spear passing the torch match. There's that. But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to believe that one way or the other we weren't going to wind up coming to this. It just when you think it's going to get good, it really just winds up going a little on the bad side. But who knows? I mean, we'll see where things go from there. Maybe they redeem themselves from this. I don't know. It's just really, really odd that this is what it's all boiled down to. I'm honestly at a loss at this point. And again, this is all the more reason why I didn't want or need to watch Super Showdown yesterday. And it's not really worth my time. And if we're being perfectly honest, is it worth yours? I mean, that's really my only question of that, is it worth yours? Because at this point at we're at a bit of a standstill where we got to ask, is it going to be even worth watching WrestleMania? And people are still going to watch WrestleMania. I mean, that's just a given, if nothing else. But one way or the other, the meaning just seems to be dissipating little by little as we get closer to that day. And it's honestly saddening. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see something that may turn things around. It's just really hard to tell at this point. But one way or the other, let's just hope for the best and expect the worst. That being said, just let me know what you guys think. If you want to take some shots at me, the open door policy is exactly that. Fire away. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, and have a good one.